Okay, hello and good evening, everybody. So nice of you to all join in today. My name is Vinita, and I am part of the Sharan team. Supraja from our team is our co-host today. Sharan is an acronym which stands for Sanctuary for Health and Reconnection to Animals and Nature. Our goal here at Sharan is to build a culture of health, and to be healthy, we we need to eat foods. Um, that are full of life, and we must stay away from processed and packaged foods. uh, Packaged foods are all around us, right? We tend to buy them because they're convenient and addictive, but we do not realize the harm that it is doing to our body. Today we will be discussing this very important topic, which is food labels. So what are food labels? Do you look at food labels? Why is it important for us to look at food labels? And how do we read these labels? We will discuss all of this and more with Seema Nayak. We also have Shraddha Sarogi, who will be joining us later to share with us 2 recipes of commonly packaged foods. So let's begin with Seema Nayak. Seema was determined to avoid diabetes as she had seen her parents suffer from that. She attended a seminar by Dr. Shah and overnight decided to change her food choices once she learnt of the truth. Since then, there has been no looking back. She now spreads the message of health through her talks and cooking classes in Goa. This topic is very close to her heart. So over to you, Seema.
Thank you, Vinita. I hope all of you are doing well and keeping safe. Welcome to this session. I bring you greetings from Goa on a beautiful rainy day. Before getting to the topic, let me tell you a little bit about myself, about why and how I started and followed the Sharan lifestyle. I was a very sickly person. My immunity was at all-time low. I used to keep getting colds and then coughs when I stayed in Bombay. And because of the high air pollution and the humidity and the uh, high temperatures, I used to keep, every time the season changed, I used to get a cold, which used to quickly progress to a cough, and which would just get worse and worse, and there were no signs of it going off. And just when I thought it would go off, the season would change again, and again the entire episode would start all over again. So at any given time in the year, I had either a cough or a cold or both. And then when I started approaching my midlife, as I started getting older, I started getting worried that I might get diabetes because both my parents were diabetic. And the popular belief is that children of diabetic parents get diabetes themselves. So I was really scared. I didn't want to be condemned to a life of diabetes. So I started doing my research, I started reading, and soon I learned that genes have got very little to do with diabetes. It's more with your lifestyle and your food choices. So I was fortunate enough to attend a full day seminar by Dr. Nandita Shah called Reversing Diabetes and Hypertension. And I must tell you, that was one of the best decisions of my life, because in that one day, I learned so many truths, so many myths were busted. And I realized that health is in our own hands. So almost overnight, I changed my food choices to much healthier ones, which we'll talk about during my presentation. I also joined the 6 weeks program on health gain and weight loss, and this helped me uh, firm up my decision to stay with this lifestyle. I was so happy with the benefits I got from the Sharan lifestyle that I went ahead to train under Dr. Nandita Shah and become a facilitator for Sharan. And since the last 2 years, I've been doing this and having talks and spreading awareness. And I must tell you that I'm no longer paranoid about getting diabetes. My sugar levels are well in control. My immunity is at an all-time high. I can't remember when I last felt sick. My mind is clearer and more focused. There's more clarity. And people tell me that I have lost some weight, which is a good thing, right? So without much further ado, let me start. Let me share my slides with you. Give me a moment. Can Can you see my slides?
Yes, Seema, we can.
Thank you. So today's topic is the truth about food labels. This is, like Vinita said, this is something very close to my heart because I used to love to buy packaged foods. And when I started looking at the food labels clearly after I started the Sharan lifestyle, I realized that there's more than meets the eye. So I'm trying to, let's together learn more about this. And I'm sure that you'll start putting the learnings from day one itself, right after the session. We'll take all your questions at the end if they're not answered during the presentation. But I'd like to keep this a little interactive. At times, I'll ask you to respond to some questions and you all can write it in the chat box and Vinita will help me with it. For those who are attending a Sharan event for the first time, Sharan stands for Sanctuary for Health and Reconnection to Animals and Nature, founded by Dr. Nandita Shah around 15 years ago. Our mission at Sharan is to help you realize your highest potential of health, to live a life without medicines, and to heal yourself with food. Dr. Shah herself has helped thousands of people to not only prevent, but even reverse lifestyle diseases like hypertension and diabetes. She's also the author of the best-selling book, Reversing Diabetes in 21 Days. And she was awarded the highest civilian award for an Indian lady, the Nari Shakti Puraskar at the hands of the President of India for a contribution to the field of health. Now, what are these food choices that Sharan advises? We have a 5-point plan. It's called the Sharan's 5-point plan, which is everything that you eat should be plant-based. That means we eliminate everything that is of animal source, whether it's the meat, the eggs, their milk, or their secretions. All these plants should be grown in non-acidic soil without the help of chemical fertilizers or pesticides. And we should have them as whole as possible. That means we do not have refined food or processed food. We have vegetables and fruits with their skins on, and our grains are not polished. Then there are 2 vitamins which are very important for the functioning of the body, which is vitamin B12 and vitamin D. So whether you're a non-vegetarian, a vegetarian, or a vegan, there are chances that these 2 vitamins might be deficient in your body. So it always makes sense to get yourselves checked regularly and supplement if required. There's more information on these 2 vitamins on our website, sharan-india.org. For today's session, we are going to be talking about the whole part of our 5-point plan, especially why we do not promote packaged foods. So we'll discuss 3 things today: why we buy packaged goods, the effects of the contents of the package, that is what is behind the food label, and the effects of packaging, that is the effects of the packaging material. So let's come to the first point. Why do we buy packaged goods? If you can write in the chat box, Vinita will help me. Can you write your response to why we buy packaged goods?
Nitya is saying convenience. Aditi is saying ease, convenient. Namrata is saying ease for shelf life. Joseph says ready-made food. It's easy. It's convenient. Yeah.
Right. So the first thing is convenience, right? And the second thing might be the marketing and advertising that you'll see, that you'll are bombarded with, right? So which makes you think that these packaged goods are good for your health. So convenience. It's so much easier to go out and buy food, right, rather than making it at home. But we seem to forget that our great grandparents and our grandparents and even our parents never had bought packaged goods. They made everything at home. Maybe that explains why they were healthier than us, maybe. So have you ever gone into a supermarket or a retail store to buy just 2 things, 2 packaged goods, maybe something simple like atta and salt, and you'll have come out with more than not just 2 items, but 2 bags full of packaged goods? It has happened to me also. I've also many times I've just stepped into some shop and thinking I'll just pick up 2, but I've emerged after an entire hour carrying just bags and bags of packaged goods. And why is that? Who can resist just picking up things from aisles which look like this, so beautifully laid out, so clean, just surrounded by colorful packaging, right? Displayed so beautifully. I mean, you're just attracted to such things. So what is the other reason that we end up buying so many things, more than we ever intended to? And why do we end up buying more than required? So how are we compelled to buy? I'm going to share some secrets with you. We all know that colors attract, right? We all love colors. Nature has given us such beautiful colors. And food is irresistible when packaged beautifully. We all eat with our eyes first. For example, I love roasted peanuts, but if someone had to give me peanuts in a brown bag, I would be least interested. I would have said that let me roast my own peanuts at home. But if the same peanuts were packaged in a beautiful, colorful package and given to me, I would grab it thinking that they were tastier. The shopping ambience in the supermarket, right? It is so clean, there's well lit, there's AC, there might even be music, there are lovely fragrances coming here and there, from here and there. Then there you have those helpful boys and girls who come and hand you the cart, and you take the cart and you feel obliged to fill it up through these beautiful aisles, right? It is packed with clever displays. Products are categorized and arranged so beautifully, and there are posters which are attracting you to all the offers that are there, which can be 1+1. There's sometimes even 1+3. You get 25% more for the same price. There's a 50% off. There's a 60% off. Then there's some sampling. So if you sample that food, you feel obliged to buy the packet. So at the end of 1 hour, when you have finally packed your cart with packaged goods and you go to the payout counter and you wait in the long line to pay for the things that you've bought, what do you encounter? You encounter some more stuff, right? You find these very small economical things that you just feel like picking up, like chewing gum or chocolates or a bag of chips. And if you have your children with you, they will also end up picking things from here and there and piling up the cart. So when you finally leave the supermarket, you realize that you have ended up buying more packaged stuff than you wanted to. So that is why we buy packaged goods. Other than convenience and the ease and the marketing, your shopping behavior. Which brings me to the second point, the contents of the package. What is behind the food label? The food industry comes under FSSAI, the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, which is a Government of India body. Anyone who wants to sell packaged goods in India must have a license from FSSAI. It has all its rules and regulations in place, and some of them are very stringent. Yet, we'll come to know as we go through this presentation why we need to be careful about packaged goods. So let's look at a food label in detail. What are the things that you look at a packaged good before you buy it? Can you write it in the chat box? What are the things that you look at before buying a package? Just one or two things.
So Joseph is saying ingredients, sugar, Perula says, Halima says carbohydrates, the quantity, the price, expiry date. Sarita says expiry. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Yes. So when I used to buy packaged goods, I just looked at the name to see whether what I wanted was what is in the packet. The second thing I looked at was the MRP, whether the price was worth what it was in the package. And the third thing was the expiry date, whether there was enough time for me to take it home and consume it. So these were the three things, not only I, but most of us look at. But when I started looking at food labels clearly, more in detail, this is what I found out. Just not only the name, it has to be on the front, it has to be on the back too. The nutrition facts, the ingredients, the declaration regarding food additives, The manufacturing details, which means the name and the address of the manufacturer and the marketer if they're separate, the batch number of the product, the expiry date, the net quantity, which means the weight of the product without the weight of the package, and the country of origin if it's an imported product. Then instructions for use or storage, and whether it's a vegetarian or non-vegetarian. I'm sure you all would have noticed this little symbol on the package, which is a square with a dot in it. If it's green, it's a vegetarian product. If it's red, it's a non-vegetarian product. Any allergens in the product, whether it contains any ingredients which could lead to common allergies like milk or nuts, the MRP, the FSSAI logo and license number, and the customer care details. So can you all see the list of things that are required to be put? Any reputed brand would follow this in their best practices. So I'll just take you through a sample that I found on FSSAI website. This is just a sample. It's not a real product. So this is the front of the package, which gives you the name. And if there are any nutrition claims, like here it says trans fat, low sodium, or any health claim, both these claims have to be supported by the ingredient list at the back. And this is the logo to say whether it's vegetarian or non-vegetarian. Since it's green, it's a vegetarian product. This is the back of the package. Again, the name of the product, the net quantity of the product, the FSSAI logo, the expiry date, the MRP, the batch number and the date of manufacture, the nutrition facts panel, the ingredient list, the allergen declaration, here this contains nuts, and the name and complete address of the manufacturer. Here they go on to give extra information about how to responsibly dispose of this plastic packet. So for today's session, everything else is self-explanatory. We are just going to concentrate on three things, that is the nutrition facts, the ingredients, and the declaration regarding food additives. So first we come to nutrition facts. Nutrition facts are supposed to be labeled like this. Here it says, if you take this example, it says it has to give you the servings, number of servings. So this package has 6 servings per container and each serving size is 1 cup. That means this package has 6 cups of this product, that's around 1.5 kilo. The second part is the calories pertaining to every single serving. So this is what we need to be careful about. The calories that are listed are about 1 serving and not the entire package. So this example gives 250 calories per cup. The third thing is the nutrients. Where do these 250 calories come from? In this example, it comes from total fat, which is 12 grams, cholesterol 8 milligrams, sodium, total carbohydrates and proteins. And if you go further, you see that total fat is 12 grams, out of which saturated fat is 2 grams and trans fat is 0 grams. Trans fat being 0 is a good thing. Cholesterol here is 8 milligrams. So we know that at least one ingredient from this product comes from an animal source, because we know that if all the ingredients were plant-based, cholesterol would be 0, because cholesterol is made only in animal livers. Sodium, which is 210, total carbohydrates 34 grams, out of which dietary fiber is 7 grams, total sugars is 5 grams, out of which 4 grams are added. Then vitamins and minerals. If this product naturally has vitamins and minerals, or if they're added, they need to be listed. And the final thing that is required to be put in nutrition facts is the percentage daily value, which is calculated on a 2000 calorie per day kind of diet. So what it means here is, out of all the calories that are required, total fat gives 14% of the calories required from this 12 grams gives 14% of the calories required from fat. Cholesterol, here this 8 milligrams gives 3% of the total calories required from cholesterol for that day, and so on and so forth. So isn't this a little confusing? If you were having only packaged goods, or most of your diet was packaged goods, and if you have to see this, if I eat 1 cup of this, I've got 250 calories. So I need to make up the other 1750 calories from what else I need. I've already made up 14% from fat, and this fiber gives me 25% of the calories from fat. So how do I calculate what else I eat during the day? So this is a little complicated and unnecessary calculation, right? So, but I have some good news for you. Because if you're in a Sharan lifestyle, you don't need to worry about counting your calories. Because if you follow a 5-point plan, which is and eat only plant-based, which is organic and whole, if you eat when you're hungry and you drink when you're thirsty, and you have a good balance of cooked and raw food, and you eat a variety of colorful vegetables and fruits, then you don't need to count your calories because all your nutrient requirements will be met. So isn't that good news? Coming to the ingredient list norms. All the ingredients, every single one of them, including additives, have to be listed. And they have to be listed in descending order. That means the ingredient which is listed first is the most in that package. And usually the first 3 ingredients make up the bulk. The third thing that we wanted to discuss about food labels was the additives. I'm sure you'll have noticed some numbers on the food label. They can have the letter E before it, or INS before it, or just the numbers. So they all pertain to additives. What are additives? Additives are substances added to your packaged food to make it look better, taste better, to make the texture palatable, or to increase its shelf life. So they are put in these categories called food colors, preservatives, antioxidants, thickeners, emulsifiers and stabilizers, acidity regulators and anti-caking agents, flavor enhancers, and sweeteners, foaming agents and gases. So the manufacturers are given the option of either naming their additive in full or just giving the numbers. So this means that number 100 to 199 pertains to food colors, 200 to 299 pertains to preservatives, 300 to 399 pertains to antioxidants, and so on and so forth. And some of these additives can be interchangeable. That means antioxidants can also have a preservative effect. Some acidity regulators also have a preservative effect. What does E mean in the E number? It stands for the European system. INS stands for International Numbering System. So let me take you through some of the facts of additives. Did you know that most of them are synthetic? Additives do come from natural sources, but since it is expensive to extract them naturally, manufacturers take the easy way out of making them artificial. So if they are artificial, it means they are chemicals. Some of them are processed or sourced from animal parts. Food colors are mostly from coal tar, which is a byproduct of petroleum. There's not enough study to show long-term safety of most of them. Especially preservatives, which are clubbed under class 1 or class 2. What this means is class 1 are the natural preservatives and generally regarded as safe. So they could be sugar, salt, oil, or vinegars. And class 2 are the ones which are artificial and synthetic. So what is wrong with additives, right? You might say, okay, but they are licensed products. So what is wrong with them? The first thing is that they are addictive. Even if you put natural additives in them like sugar, salt, and oil, all of which are refined, processed, and oil itself has preservatives. So you know that all these 3 things are addictive. Then Additives can lead to seemingly simple adverse effects like nausea, diarrhea, headaches, hyperactivity in children, allergic reactions, and some respiratory problems like asthma and bronchitis. It can lead to long lasting and permanent problems like obesity, hormone disruption. We all know that chemicals are hormone disruptors, right? Hypertension, neurological problems, cardiac issues, and even cancer. So I'm going to take you through some additives which are commonly used. If you here see that sweeteners 950 and 951, which are asulfame, potassium, and aspartame, they're used commonly in baked goods, diet food, soft drinks, etc. They have an effect, they're linked strongly to impairments in the thyroid and the brain and even cancer. Colors like 132, 143, 102, which are used in beverages, and those small, cute little candies that you get, lead to hyperactivity in children and even cancer. Here, cochineal, there's no known danger as of now, but I just wanted to tell you that this red color, this lovely red color is got by grinding dead and dry beetles. So if you're a vegetarian, you need to be very careful. Then for non-vegetarians, you have to be careful about the sodium nitrite and nitrate that is used as a preservative in processed meats and linked strongly to cancer, especially colorectal cancer. And then there is this additive called potassium bromate 924, which was used as a flour improver in breads and refined flour. It was linked to cancer, and finally it has been banned in India. So no manufacturer can use E94 in any of their products. Some more. Now, antioxidants in refined oils and fats and crisps and cereals. We know that oils get rancid very quickly, right? So if you want a long shelf life, manufacturers add antioxidants to them. There are two common ones. One is TBHQ and one is BHA. TBHQ especially is known to lead to impairments in the vision, in the liver, and the nerves. BHA has been linked strongly to cancer. Propyl gallate, which is banned in a lot of other countries, is still allowed to be used in India. It is linked to cancer. Then things like xanthan gum and gelatin. Gelatin comes from animals. We all know that. But still it is used as an emulsifier in candies and sweets and can give rise to allergy. And then finally, the MSG. We know that monosodium glutamate is used, which was in the news 2-3 years back. It is used as a flavor enhancer in Chinese food especially. And we know that it can give rise to hyperactivity and asthma. So I wish I could take you through all those 1,000 additives, but since we don't have time for that, I just thought I would take you through some of them. So now I'm going to take you through some products, 7 or 8 products, which are used very commonly in Indian households. And we'll see what is right or wrong about the ingredients. The first one I want to talk about is refined cooking oil. We in Sharan do not advise cooking oil at all, because when you refine oil, you remove the fiber, therefore you remove all the nutrients, and it is just concentrated fat. But still, a lot of us Indians cannot think of cooking without oil. So here is what one popular brand lists as its ingredient: refined rice bran oil, refined soya bean oil, antioxidant, and anti-foaming agent. Now let's look at this carefully. 319 is what I just talked about, the TBHQ, which can give adverse effects on your vision, your liver, and your nerves. So long-time usage of this will definitely impact you. And anti-foaming agent 900A, which when heated at high levels, we all heat our cooking oil and reuse it, right? So 900A can turn into formaldehyde, which is not good for us at all. The second one is the humble ginger garlic paste. All of us use ginger garlic at home, right? When we make it at home, we use equal amounts of ginger and garlic. But still, because we don't have the time, we go out and buy it. So let's see what one popular brand lists as its ingredients. Ginger 43%, garlic 27%, water, iodized salt, acidity regulator, stabilizer, and preservatives. Now, if you look at this carefully, ginger and garlic make up only 70% of your paste. And the rest is water, iodized salt, and other additives, which is 30%. That means your water and other additives make up more than even the garlic in your ginger garlic paste. Fruit juice. In Sharan, again, we don't advise juicing your fruits because it removes the fiber if you strain it, and it gives you a sugar spike in one shot. So on a regular basis, we do not advise juicing your fruit unless under some specific conditions. So, but still a lot of us think that fruit juice is very healthy. But if we are a little more informed, and we know that some of them have preservatives. So when a fruit juice claims that there are no added preservatives, we are tempted to buy it. So this is what one brand says: water, fruit pulp, sugar, concentrated juice, acidity regulator, stabilizer, iodized salt, antioxidants, and added flavor. So let's look at this. A product claiming to be fruit juice has only 13% of fruit in it. And the main ingredient is water. We'll just learn that the ingredient which is listed first is the most. So the most common ingredient in this is water. Then fruit juice, which is only 13%, followed by sugar and concentrated juice, which is another name for sugar, and a whole host of additives, out of which two are iodized salt and antioxidants. So we know that these two are preservatives. So when this juice claims to be no added preservatives, we know that it is not 100% the truth. Plus it has added flavor to make this water taste like fruit juice. Tomato ketchup. What would you expect to be in your tomato ketchup? Tomato, right? But let's see what this bottle has. It has water, sugar, tomato paste, salt, acidity regulator, thickening agent, preservatives, and they declare that they are containing class 2 preservatives, which you know are artificial. So again, water is the first ingredient, sugar is the second ingredient, and tomato in your tomato ketchup comes a poor third, which only 24%. Next, we come to coconut milk powder. We think making coconut milk is very cumbersome, right? So we prefer to go out and buy either the liquid or the powder. If you get the powder, it just means adding some warm water to it and making powder. It's so simple, right? So let's look at the ingredients. It's coconut milk solid, which is 80%, which is good. Then maltodextrin, sodium caseinate, acidity regulator, and stabilizer. So what is this hiding here? It's milk protein. Why do you want to put cow milk into coconut milk? So if you are using coconut milk because you are lactose intolerant or you didn't want to use cow's milk, you have milk protein hiding in your coconut milk, in your purchased coconut milk. And look at maltodextrin, which is another name for sugar. Glucose biscuits. We all love our glucose biscuits, right? We Indians love our biscuits with a morning tea and afternoon tea because it gives us that little spike in our energy. So let's see what one famous brand has. It has refined wheat flour, sugar, refined palm oil, invert sugar syrup, iodized salt, raising agents, milk solids, flour treatment agent, emulsifier, added flavors, levulose, and D-glucose. So what's wrong here? Look at this. Most of your biscuit is made up of maida, which we know is refined. It does not have any fiber. It does not have any nutrients. Look at the sugar level. There's sugar in its natural form, invert sugar syrup, levulose, and D-glucose. So now do you know why you get that little spike in your energy when you eat a glucose biscuit? And the last product I want to talk about is a cola, which claims no sugar. All of us know that colas are loaded with sugar, right? So when a cola says no sugar, maybe we're tempted to pick it up. So let's see what it says. It says carbonated water, acidity regulator, sweeteners, caffeine, preservative, natural colors, and added flavors. So what is this sweetener? This cola claims no sugar, but it has added artificial sweeteners, which is 951 and 950, which we just saw was aspartame and asulfame potassium, which have adverse effects. It also has caffeine, which we know is addictive, preservatives, and again, added flavors to make your carbonated water taste good. Plus, this can goes on to proclaim that 300 ml in this can gives you 0.9 kilocalories, which means 900 empty calories. So that's about packaged goods and how sugar gets included with their in a hidden form. So we have also seen maltodextrin, levulose, D-glucose. Can you think of any other names of sugar that can go into your package? Can you write in the chat box? And Vinita will help me. The ways that sugar can get into your packaged good.
Yeah, Sandeep is saying fructose. Rajnath is saying fructose again. Jaggery, stevia, invert syrup, corn syrup, Geeta says.
Yes.
Me, yeah.
Yes. There are many ways of sugar coming into your product. And sugar by any other name is still sugar, right? So let's look at some of the names. Here there's agave syrup, agave nectar, Barbados sugar, barley malt, beet sugar, so on, brown rice syrup, so on and so forth. There are at least 15 in this list. And then there are some more and some more. And if these were not enough, then there are artificial sweeteners too, just like we heard, learned, asulfame, aspartame, mannitol, xylitol. Okay, so there are at least 70 to 100 ways that sugar can be added to your product. So one more reason to look at your label closely. So that's about packaged goods. Now what about organic food, right? All those of us who want to shift to organic, how do we trust that what we buy is really organic? So look out for these logos. FSSAI now has a department called Jaivik Bharat since the last 3 years, and they have made it mandatory for organic products to be checked by accredited agencies like Control Union, which then certify that these are organic. And this is the logo that you need to look for, India Organic. And if this product is exported, then they need to get certificates like European Union Organic and USDA Organic too. So if you want to be a little more careful about whether your products are really organic, look out for these logos. So we finished talking about food labels. Look at this bounty by nature. Look at this beautiful, beautiful, colorful gifts of nature that God has given us. Don't you feel like just picking up one of them and eating it? Why do you need to look at packaged good, artificial foods when you have this gift from nature? So real food does not need a label. So our ultimate goal at Sharan is to help you get off packaged food totally. I know this is a little daunting if you're used to buying packaged food like I was. It can be a little insurmountable, right? It looks like a mountain that you can't climb. So I'm going to share some tips with you which help me. First is never shop when you're hungry. Okay, when you're hungry, even if you're shopped, I know right now you don't really go out to shop, you shop online, but this stands for online shopping too, because the behavior is the same. So never shop when you're hungry, because then you tend to pick up the first packaged food which you can just open and pop in your mouth. Second thing is always read the labels like we just discussed. I know sometimes it's difficult. The print is so small. Sometimes it's under the crimp. So there's a trick. You can just take a photograph on your mobile, enlarge it, and see exactly what ingredients are there. Have a meal prep schedule. Every weekend, maybe take the help of your family and prepare the schedule for the entire week. Say on Monday, we're going to have this, Tuesday, we're going to have this, and so on and so forth. And prepare your peanut curd, your nut butters, your salad dressing, your chutneys, your cheese, and put it in the fridge. And if there is food readily available, you're not going to go out and buy packaged goods. Mindful shopping. This is something that has really helped me. We all have heard of mindful eating, right? So it's time that you're shopped also mindfully. Here I want to give you an example of myself. When I used to, my favorite pastime used to be to go to a supermarket, take a cart and just walk down the aisles and fill up my cart with this beautiful packaged goods. But every time I reached the dairy section, I used to be overwhelmed because everywhere I turned, there was dairy in some form. They were in packages, they were in Tetra packs. There used to be high fat milk, low fat milk, toned milk, whole milk, skimmed milk, milk powder, buttermilk, chas, curds, cheese blocks, cheese slices, unsalted butter, salted butter, cakes, milkshakes. You get the drift, right? So I should just wonder, where is all this abundance coming from? And then when I went for Nandita Shah's seminar, I realized that this milk rightfully belongs to baby calves and it is snatched from them and given to us. Do your own research. I've talked for the last half an hour. So do your own research. Read up online. Look at the labels. I'm going to give you some homework. After this session is over, go to your pantry, pick up a packaged good and look at the label carefully and see if you can pick up some numbers from there and go and check what those numbers mean. And final tip that really helped me get off packaged good was look at the ingredients. If I can't pronounce any of it or if they're unfamiliar, I will not buy, neither will I eat it. Just follow this and it will really help you. So getting off packaged goods might be very, very difficult like it was for me, but I must tell you that it is possible because we all know that food is medicine, right? So the food you eat can be either the safest and the most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. So that brings us to the end of the package, the contents of the package. I just want to take another 3-4 minutes of talking about the packaging material, right? If all the packaged contents come in some packaging material to be brought to your house, right? And we know that most of it is plastic. July is a plastic-free month, and there's no better time than this to make up your mind to give up plastic or minimize it in your life. So what are the food packaging materials that one can come across? The first is metal, which can be steel, aluminum, and tin, among others. But the disadvantages is that it can rust or leach into the food. Glass, which is the best, but we all know it's fragile. You can't transport it, neither can you store it carefully. Also good is paper, but we know that's not durable or airtight. You can't store liquid in it. And it's not sustainable. Paper comes from trees. You can't keep cutting trees to make paper. So that leaves us with plastic, which is cheap, versatile. It takes any form. You can make a bottle, you can make packets, you can make pouches, you can make bags. But we all know that it is hazardous to our health and to that of animals and nature. So what are the perils of plastic? Plastic is full of chemicals, and we know that chemicals are hormone disruptors. So it can lead to infertility in both males and females. It can even lead to PCOS. It can lead to brain fog, impaired thinking, Alzheimer's, long-lasting effects like obesity, irritable bowel syndrome, and even cancer. These are just 5 of the adverse effects that plastic has on us. There are many, many more. And on the environment, we just take plastic and dump it in our seas, therefore choking it. Last year alone, there were 9 million tons dumped in the sea. and billions more are dumped in the landfill. If they are not dumped in the sea or in the landfill, they are burnt, which leads to air pollution. So I just want to give you some interesting facts about plastic. More plastic has been produced in the last 10 years than the entire century before that. So can you see our dependence on plastic? And most of it is single use and disposable. That means more than half of this plastic we use just once and throw it away. And I'm sure this percentage would have gone up during this pandemic because we are getting hyper about our sterilization, right? We just keep using and throwing. You can see pictures of how masks and gloves are just thrown here and there. But you might just say, so what is wrong? If it is labeled recyclable, what is wrong if we use it once and dispose of it? I must tell you here that recyclable is just in theory. It is more difficult and consumes more money and time and effort to recycle plastic. It's easier to produce it. So we take the easy way out and produce plastic rather than recycling it. That means less than 9% of plastic is recycled and the remaining we know just gets dumped. So since plastic is everywhere, we on an average consume or ingest 5 grams of plastic every week. Let me repeat. We humans on an average ingest 5 grams of plastic every week. And if you want to know what 5 grams of plastic looks like, in weight, it is equal to your ATM card. So where does this plastic come from? How do we ingest those 5 grams? Like I said, it is everywhere. It's burnt. So it is in the air, in your surroundings, in your furniture, in your curtains, in your upholstery, in your clothes. So because it's dumped in the water bodies, it comes into your drinking water. Because it's dumped in the seas, the fish eat it, and if you're a non-vegetarian, it comes into your fish. And fish, since fish is fed to the animals that we eat as meat, it comes through them too. Then milk. We have seen cows are left to graze for themselves, right? They eat the garbage from the garbage bin, which is laden with plastic. So these cows eat the plastic, which then comes into our milk. Bottled water. We are so fond of buying single-use mineral water bottles, right? We drink the water and throw the bottle. And we know that plastic is not biodegradable, remains for at least 5 centuries on the face of the earth. Your plastic storage containers. Let me tell you that even the best brands leach into the food stored in it. And of course, your food packaging, as we saw. Everything that is packaged is almost always in plastic. So I'm going to show you a picture now. It's beautiful. You can see lovely fresh vegetables. But there's something drastically wrong in this picture. Can you write in the chat box what it is? And Vinita will help me. What do you see wrong in this picture?
Yeah, Halima says plastic. Neha says plastic. Priya says plastic wrappings, packaging, plastic. Yes.
Yes, you all got it right. It's plastic. Can you all see individual cauliflowers, individual cabbages wrapped further in cling wrap and carrots wrapped again in plastic? Why do you need to wrap fresh produce in plastic? If you thought this was silly, look at this. Someone has taken the trouble of peeling off oranges, removing the natural packaging that God has given us, thrown out those peels, and then packed the oranges in disposable plastic containers individually. So if you think this is silly, look at this. Bananas have been peeled and then packed into plastic. Have we become so lazy that we can't even remove the peels of plastic? Can you see the way plastic has taken over every aspect of our lives? So how do we minimize plastic? Like I said, July is plastic free, no better time than this. So refuse to get plastic into your house. Refuse online packaging which comes in plastic. You can always opt for zero waste packaging. Reduce reduce buying, getting stuff in plastic into your house. I know that we need to buy groceries and most of the groceries packed in plastic. So go for bulk buys. Instead of buying 1 kilo, buy 5 kilos so that you get only one packet at home. Go to zero waste shops, buy loose stuff. Go to farmers markets where you get produce in loose and you can put it in your own shopping bags. Reuse. If you have plastic at home, find ways to reuse. Not for food, but find ways to reuse. Recycle. By recycle, I don't mean making craft items. That's good, but you end up using up more material to recycle craft items. Here, I mean just collect it. And in every city, there are some responsible recyclers, and they will collect your plastic and recycle it. I'm sure if you look around in your city, you'll find. If not any of these, then dispose of your plastic in a responsible way. I have found one way, which is making eco bricks. Now, this is what eco bricks look like. This is not my picture. I picked it up from the internet. You take plastic bottles, which are going to be dumped, if you have them at home, or borrow them. And then I fill them with whatever plastic comes into my house. So there are two ways, two advantages of this. When you start stuffing it, you realize how much plastic you have at home, and this keeps a check. And second thing that happens is all the plastic remains in one place. So when you give it to your dry garbage collector, he's not going to send it to recycling. He's just going to dump it somewhere. So at least the plastic remains in one place, and the stray animals and cows don't eat this. And then there are some people in some cities who then also collect eco bricks like this and make some furniture like park benches and all. So if you are really interested, you can find them out in your own city. So coming to the end of my session, I've told you so many things. It might be really daunting to you. Looks like a huge mountain to climb. How, as one single person, how can you minimize this plastic? But I want to tell you that you may not be able to do everything, but that should not stop you from doing the little that you can do, because every drop counts, right? And we are responsible for the future that we leave for our children. So which brings me to the end of my session. I want to thank you for giving me your patient hearing. I also want to thank Vinita, Supraja, Shraddha, and the entire team at Sharan for working on this presentation with me. And we all wish you good health always. So thank you.
So let me introduce you to Shraddha. Shraddha Sarogi has always been a keen seeker of health and wellness. With a history of heart operations in her family, she didn't want her children to inherit the same. And she has made the shift after she was introduced to Sharan when her husband was diagnosed with diabetes. And Shraddha will share more about her story. So Shraddha, over to you.
Hello everybody, welcome today to The Truth About Labels. My name is Shraddha. I started my journey with Sharan last year in June when my husband was detected with diabetes. He was already suffering from high blood pressure and cholesterol, and he was taking medication for that. I have always been a keen seeker for natural healing. So I told my husband this time we have to go down a different path, because there's a series of dialysis and heart disease in the family. Our cousin, Shalini Bhumika, who's also a facilitator with Sharan, introduced us to the Sharan lifestyle. She put us on the 21-day online program, which is very comprehensive and it is in much detail. We started following the program and we started getting better. Slowly, the sugar level started coming down. And we had a consultation with Dr. Nandita. She stopped, first of all, she stopped his cholesterol medicine because we had stopped oil and all animal products, milk. And within a few months, within 8 months, he was free of all his medication, of his high blood pressure medication, and also his diabetes had come into control. So I'm really grateful to this lifestyle. But I wanted to make things fresh, always believe, and I wanted to eat things fresh also. So my awareness began with food labels during the lockdown when I had very little tomato ketchup left in the fridge, in the refrigerator. And I just wondered suddenly that how come it's been lying for 6 months in the refrigerator and it hasn't got spoiled. So I just took it out and started reading the label, and I was so surprised that, as Seema said, that there was such little tomato. There was acidity regulator, thickener, and coagulants. And I said, I cannot put this into my body anymore. And that's when I started I threw away all the condiments in my refrigerator and started making everything on my own. So today I'm going to share a very simple recipe of tomato ketchup, which we can make at home very, very easily. I have steamed tomatoes here, 3 tomatoes. This is with their skin. I've steamed it only for a very short while, for 5 minutes. And we do not peel the skin because the skin has fiber. The skin is fiber and there are nutrients under the skin. And this is raisin paste made out of 10 to 12 raisins. You have to soak the raisins for a little while in warm water and then grind it along with the water. But you will not be able to make raisin paste of 10 to 12 raisins, so you can make a little bit more and then keep it in the refrigerator to sweeten or to add to your smoothies. I have 2 tablespoons of date paste. The dates also are soaked for half an hour in a little bit of warm water, and then de-seeded it and grinded it. Then we have our natural preservative, which is 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, little bit of salt, and red chili powder. So what we have to do, I'm just switching it on to make it a little warm. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to add it all the ingredients to the blender. So these are the tomatoes, the raisin paste, the cake paste, the lemon juice, and the salt and the red chili powder. And I'm going to blend this so it's a puree. So this has been made into a very fine puree. There's no skin. I'm going to heat it up and boil it for some time till it becomes thick. This takes around 10 minutes to become thick. So you can see it's blended very well. And even though I've added date paste, it is still red because I've added raisins as well to make it sweet. And the sourness comes from the tomatoes and a little bit of the lemon juice. So it's going to heat up and become thick. You can see it's heating up. You have to heat this up for 10 minutes till it becomes very thick, and then cool it and then put it into a sterilized container like this. Into a sterilized container. The container has to be sterilized. You have to put it in warm water, the container, the bottle, and then heat it for 5 to 10 minutes. Then take it out, rinse it, rinse it, and then let it cool and become absolutely dry. And then you add the whole tomato ketchup. It lasts for a month in the fridge. The tomato ketchup is very, very versatile. I use use it for even when I add my pasta sauce or to some curries. And it's really very, very tasty. And now I'll show you how to make a very, very simple mayonnaise. And children absolutely love mayonnaise. So I always keep it in the refrigerator to have it with burgers or with fries. And, so we have here half cup of soaked cashew. I've soaked it for 4 to 5 hours, but this is half cup after it has been soaked. So you should have to take a little bit less while soaking. So lemon juice, which is a preservative and it gives you the sourness to the mayonnaise. Mustard paste. I do not add mustard powder because it doesn't give that kick of mustard. I prefer adding the mustard paste and salt, rock salt and black salt. Because black salt has that sulfur taste and it gives a that eggy taste in mayonnaise. Garlic, 3 to 4 cloves of garlic, half onion, and a very magical ingredient is flaxseed. Flaxseed helps to thicken the paste, the mayonnaise, and makes it jelly-like. So I'm going to show you now. So this is cashew, lemon juice, the mustard paste, half teaspoon of mustard paste, the black salt and rock salt, garlic, onion, and lastly the flaxseed. Half a teaspoon of flaxseed powder. Very little water initially to it. Grind it. We have to make sure that the paste is really fine and the cashews are not grainy at all. We have to add a little bit more water. And it's done. Just take it out and continue. And the flaxseed will start acting on it. If you leave it in the fridge, after a little while, it starts becoming the ketchup and the mayonnaise, and you can enjoy it with some fries. And the fries are also baked, and they do not have any oil at all. I just added a little bit of coconut butter and salt and paprika, and I just steamed it for 10 minutes, but it was a bit hard and not fully boiled, and then I put it in the air fryer and we have lovely French fries. Thank you. Thank you so much.
That looks delicious. It was so easy to make. It looked